Hello friends, my name is Nimit and today we will be discussing about CAP theorem. In distributed system, when we have to scale up a system, one of the easiest ways to add a machine. And when we add a machine, we inherently are increasing the complexity of our system. And when we increase the complexity of our system, we have to take certain decisions, and those are the trade-offs that we have to deal with when we are scaling up. And CAP theorem comes into play when we have to take these decisions. So CAP theorem is used when scaling up. Now, mostly the CAP theorem is applied in places or in systems which store some sort of states, and basically databases store state of your application. That's why we will be applying this CAP theorem in on databases, and generally you would have seen that this is applied to databases. So that is the basic reason that why CAP theorem is applied to databases, because they store the state. And yeah, but in general CAP theorem can be applied to any kind of distributed system which stores state, not particularly database, right? So can we apply, can we apply to system storing state? Now let's understand meaning of each and every word in CAP in more detail. So C stands for consistency. Consistency means that a read is guaranteed to return the most recent write in our database. So let's say some thing is written on the DB and there is another read on the DB. So the DB should give the latest information to that read after the write, right? So that's the consistency. A read is guaranteed to return most recent write. Now there is A stands for availability. Availability means that we will get a reasonable response from our database in a reasonable time. So when I do a write request, we get a OK 200 response, which is basically a non error response. And when I do a write, I will also get a 200 OK response, which is also non error response. So that means my database is available, and this response should be in reasonable time. Like if I am getting a response after 5 minutes, then I can definitely say that my database is not available. So reasonable response in full time. And P stands for partition tolerance. So when we talk about partition tolerance, there is another very important concept that we have to keep in mind. Now, when we talk about object oriented systems, we assume many things about the environment. Like we assume that the machine is always up, and we always assume that network is reliable. But in reality, network is very unreliable. It can go down very frequently and at any point of time. And from my personal experience, I can tell you, in production, it happens a lot that there is a network failure. So it depends upon our system that how it can recover from these network failures and what are the choices that your system make while being in this network failure. We will talk more about this uh, in detail later. Now, now let's take an example and apply this cap theorem to it. So initially we have just a minimal system with, let's say, only one DB machine. Now to consistent, as we mentioned, that it should guarantee that we get a latest version of our data. So if I write something and then if I read something, we will get a latest data. And if this response is 200 okay, then our database is available. Now in this only one machine, we can't exactly talk about network partition because there is no another machine in our system. So actually there is no network. Also, technically this is not exactly a distributed system, because to be a distributed system we need to have greater or equal to two machines, right? Now if I have one machine, then how can it be a distributed system? But still sometimes we apply cap theorem on this and we say that this system is CA, which is consistent and available, not P, because there is no chance of having a partition because there is not another machine. Now let's scale our DB up. Now we have two instances of DB, DB1 and DB2. Let's say I write something on DB1 and another write comes to DB2. Now a read request comes to DB1. When this read request will come to DB1, it would only have changes. So this was our distributed system. So it would only have now the changes that were written by W1. It won't have changes written by this W2. So in this case, our system is not consistent. So to make these kind of system consistent, what we do is that we have some communication between DB1 and DB2. So what happens is that when you write anything on DB1, it sends a communication to DB2 that W1 has been written on me. You also make this change. So it would have a change, let's say X, and DB1 would already have a change X. Now if you do W2, it would have a change Y, and it will communicate the same thing to DB1. So DB1 will also have Y. Now when a read comes into DB1, it will have both X and Y. Hence, we can say that our system is consistent. We will talk more about this configuration in another video where we will be discussing exactly how we are scaling these databases. But for now, just take a gist that these databases are consistent and they talk to each other. And we will also be getting 200 OK responses for our read and write statements. So our database is available as well, right? This is the happy scenario that happens. Now we also have to think about cases of failure, and the one point of most frequent failure is this network between DB1 and DB2. Let's say the network between DB1 and DB2 fails. They are not able to communicate to each other. So in this case, this P comes to the picture, which is partition tolerance. That is, the network has failed and how our system is recovering from this. So we take another example where we have our previous DB1. We also have a DB2, and network between them is failing. And this is our distributed system as we discussed earlier. Now let's say there is a write. Now there are two choices that we have when there is a write, because one scenario is that I write this into my database and give 200 response, or another scenario is that I reject this because I know that I am not able to connect to DB2. So this DB1 would give a response as error, and even if any write to request comes to DB2, this would return error. But we can keep serving read requests because we know that we are not accepting any write. So all the data will be in a consistent state, right? Because we are like, no one can make any change to DB1 and no one can make to any change to DB2. So our database will be in a consistent state. So this is C, and we are taking consistency with partition tolerance. So these kind of systems are called CP, where they are consistent, and we are talking about in terms of partition tolerance. Also, in this case, as we are returning error for all the write requests, our system won't be available. So we are choosing consistency over availability in case of partition tolerance. So this is a trade-off that our system is having. It is choosing consistency over availability. So in this case, availability is not there. So these are CP systems. Now let's talk about system which is available but not consistent. This is DB1, this is DB2. There is a network failure. This is a distributed system. Now let's say there is a write to DB1. So we return a OK 200 response, but the state of DB1 has changed. So let's say it has become X dash, and there is another write request to DB2, and we return OK 200, and now the state of this DB2 changes to X double dash. So here you can see that our both databases DB1 and DB2 are in inconsistent state. So we are giving up on inconsistency, but we are returning OK 200 response. So our systems are available. So here our system is AP and we are giving up on consistency. Like we are trading availability on the cost of consistency. Another point we need to discuss that how we will recover from network failure in case of AP systems. So let's say this networks backs up again. So what happens is that there is a synchronization that happens between DB1 and DB2. So there are different protocols that does this synchronization. Some of the examples are 2PC, 3PC, and etc. We will talk more about these protocols in details when we will discuss exactly how these DBs are configured. These are synchronization. This happens after synchronization. And these are also sometimes called conflict resolution algorithms. And so when we think about it, this system is sort of more complex because you would have to do synchronization between DB1 and DB2. So this AP system is more complex. and requires algorithm. This is when we have to recover from the network failure. In this CP system, when the networks come back, we can start accepting these write requests, and we can start accepting these write requests because we know that our system is was always in consistent state, so there is no need of any synchronization. So these kind of system are less complex, and in this system no conflict resolution algorithm are required. No conflict resolution required. Good. Cool. Now, now when we talk about, sorry, now when we talk about RD, traditionally our relational databases, they are a CP system. Traditionally, when you have a, let's say, MySQL Server 1 and MySQL 2, and there is a network problem between these two, it would stop accepting any of the writes. So these two will be in consistent state. Hence, traditionally, a relational database is a CP system. So our RDBMS is CP, and it gives up upon the availability as we talked earlier. Now, as the time has progressed, people sometimes want these systems to be available. So, so you can also make your RDBMS relational database API as well. Like in MySQL, you can enable something called Golden Gate version, which will make your CP system to AP system. So it's just a Golden Gate version. So as you know that these CP and AP are just trade-offs, and every kind of database gives us options to whether to choose a CP system or whether to choose a AP system. Generally, these relational databases are CP system, and NoSQL systems are AP system where the availability is high, but you are giving up consistency. But what they guarantee is that eventual consistency, which about which we will talk in a separate video. So basically, this is cap theorem. So when there is no network problem, why, like when I mean that there is no partition tolerance, our system are always C, which is consistent and available. There are many different connotations of cap theorem out there, which says that you have to always choose bit 2, but that is only the case in when there is a network failure, which is P, and then we have to make a trade-off between C and A, which we have discussed in detail. So hopefully you guys would have understood cap theorem much better, and you can apply it on the systems that you are building, and or maybe in future you will build. So yeah, thank you guys, and hopefully you enjoyed the video. Please don't forget to give a like and subscribe to my channel. I will be posting new content, and so we can scale databases together. If you have any doubts, you can post them in comments, and I will try to answer as many as possible. Thank you guys.